The sky is not empty. It has never been. Above the cities, beyond the fields, and across the silent deserts, strange lights have danced where no human aircraft should fly. For decades, witnesses have whispered their stories of glowing disks, of metallic shapes hovering without sound, of mysterious rings burned into the ground. Some say these are just tricks of the mind or secret military experiments. Others believe they are visitors from another world. But what if these stories are not just myths? What if the proof has already been left behind, on our soil, in our skies, and even on camera? Tonight, the journey begins. From the farms of Kansas to the skies of California, from mysterious lights in Texas to the legendary Tic Tac UFOs, we uncover the evidence that challenges everything we know about reality. Prepare yourself. Because once you see what's coming, you can never look at the sky the same way again. It was a quiet November evening in 1971. In the small town of Delphos, Kansas, 16-year-old Ron Johnson was on his family's farm. The cold wind carried only the soft rustle of leaves, and the night sky was dark and still. Then, without warning, a light appeared. Not just any light, but a blazing, mushroom-shaped craft hovering silently just a few feet above the ground. Ron froze, his heart pounding. The craft did not make a sound. No engine, no whirring, only a pale, unnatural glow that painted the farmyard in shades of white and blue. "Mom, Dad, you have to see this," he shouted, running into the farmhouse. His parents, Irma and Durrell Johnson, rushed outside. They arrived just in time to see the object rise, twist slightly, and vanish into the dark sky like a ghost disappearing into nothingness. But what it left behind was even stranger. In the muddy field, exactly where the craft had hovered, was an 8-foot-wide ring. The soil inside the ring was coated with a whitish crust, almost as if the earth itself had been bleached. When Irma bent down and touched the substance, a sharp sensation rushed through her hand. Her fingers went completely numb. She pulled back in shock, staring at her hand. What is this?" she whispered. Law enforcement soon arrived. Harlan Enloe, one of the first officers on the scene, could not believe his eyes. "It was an eye-opening surprise," he would later say. "There's this white, dry ring, looks like a big donut just sitting there in the middle of the mud field. We took photos, we took soil samples. It wasn't like anything I'd seen before. The ring seemed to glow in the dark, as if it carried some strange energy from the craft. Tests later showed something astonishing. The soil had hydrophobic properties. It repelled water. Even 20 years later, water would still bead off the surface instead of soaking in. Some believed it was burned by heat. Others said it was a chemical reaction. But there was no ash, no carbon residue, no sign of anything human-made. Experts, scientists, even journalists were baffled. Could this be evidence of a real landing site? Across the ocean in France, a similar incident had occurred in the 1980s, when a farmer in Aix-en-Provence saw a disc-shaped object land and take off, leaving strange marks and burned vegetation. The Delphos Ring, with its 21-page soil analysis report, remains one of the most studied UFO landing sites in history. And still, no one can explain it. Standing there that night, Ron and his family could only stare at the glowing ring. It was as if the earth itself had been branded by something not of this world. Nearly 50 years after the Delphos incident, another story unfolded, this time under the bright sun of California. It was February 2020 in Garden Grove, California. Brian Schuller was at home, enjoying a calm afternoon with his children. The sky was perfectly blue, the kind of day when nothing unusual is expected. Then his son called out, voice filled with shock, "Dad, look up there." Brian walked into the backyard, expecting maybe an airplane or a stray balloon, but what he saw left him speechless. Floating high above the neighborhood was something metallic, something unlike anything he had ever seen. It wasn't moving like a plane. It wasn't drifting like a balloon. The object seemed to hang in the sky, its dark underside reflecting sunlight in a way that looked almost like glass. Brian's instincts told him this was not normal. Quickly, he grabbed his phone and began recording. The camera shook slightly as he zoomed in, trying to capture the strange craft. "It moved slowly to my left," Brian later said, "but it didn't wobble, didn't drift like you'd expect. It was moving with purpose." As the minutes passed, the object slid across the sky, completely silent, and then slowly disappeared into the distance. Brian's kids stared in awe. This time, he couldn't tell them it was just their imagination. The video he captured became a mystery not just for his family, but for experts around the world. The analysis, when researchers examined the footage, theories flew like sparks. Was it a military drone from a nearby base, a weather balloon, or something not from this Earth? Mark D'Antonio, an astronomer and video effects expert, pointed out something curious. If it was a drone, why was it so close to power lines? That's dangerous and unusual. And the shape, it's not symmetrical like a drone would be. Some skeptics thought it was just a trick of perspective, a spider hanging from the power line caught in the camera's focus. But when the footage was analyzed frame by frame, experts disagreed. The object was farther away than the wire, larger than any insect could be. Then another voice joined the debate. Could it be a partially deflated mylar balloon, the kind that floats away from birthday parties? D'Antonio considered this carefully. The shape, the reflection of light, even the slow movement, yes, it's possible, but something about its motion is still odd. A connection to the past. Orange County, California, has long been a hotspot for UFO activity. In 1965, Rex Heflin, a road maintenance engineer, had taken Polaroid photos of a UFO near the same area. The object he saw was also metallic, hovering low near power lines, and it became one of the most famous UFO cases of the 1960s. Experts reanalyzed his photos decades later and found no evidence of tampering. Now Brian's backyard sighting echoed the Heflin incident, two metallic objects, both near power lines, both unexplained. Could this be a coincidence? Or could something or someone be watching this same area for decades? Brian's video remains unresolved. Some say it was just a balloon, others swear it's something else. But for Brian and his kids, that afternoon in 2020 changed the way they looked at the sky. Because once you see something you cannot explain, you never forget it. It was a warm summer evening in Cypress, Texas, June 24, 2020. The air was calm, the sky painted with fading gold as the sun dipped below the horizon. A woman stood in her backyard, phone in hand, enjoying the quiet. Then she noticed something that froze her in place. Above her house, multiple glowing lights floated in the sky, silent, steady, and moving in an odd formation. They were not blinking like airplane lights, nor did they follow any straight path like helicopters. Instead, they hovered and then slowly drifted upward as though defying gravity. Her hands shook as she hit record. The phone camera struggled to capture all the lights, but in her own words, there were more than a dozen orbs, each one glowing faintly, rising higher into the night sky. The Texas UFO mystery. Texas is no stranger to UFO reports. Houston alone records around 80 sightings every year, many of them unexplained. With NASA's Johnson Space Center nearby, some believe these lights could be experimental aircraft. Others think they are evidence of something much stranger. When the Cyprus video surfaced, experts gathered to analyze it. Mark D'Antonio, the same astronomer who examined the California footage, studied the motion of the lights. His conclusion was surprising. These don't look like planes or helicopters. I don't see the kind of directional movement we'd expect from aircraft. Instead, I think we're looking at sky lanterns. Sky lanterns, small paper balloons with a flame inside, can float upward for 15-20 minutes, glowing as they rise into the dark. And when seen from a distance, they can look eerily like floating orbs. But is it that simple? Yet not everyone was convinced. The witness insisted that these lights were too bright, too steady, and too coordinated to be lanterns. They didn't flicker, she said. They didn't drift with the wind. They moved like they had a purpose. Some UFO enthusiasts connected the Cyprus lights with the famous Tic Tac UFOs seen by Navy pilots in 2004, claiming that these glowing objects might be smaller crafts sent to observe us. Could these lights be drones? Aviation expert Tim McMillan was skeptical. To hover like that in formation without noise or flashing safety lights, it doesn't match the behavior of common drones. The unknown above Texas. As the camera kept rolling, the lights began to fade, one by one, until the sky returned to its normal, quiet darkness. The witness stood there, stunned, her heart still racing. "What were they?" she whispered. Even today, no one can say for sure. Perhaps they were lanterns, drifting from some distant celebration. Or maybe, just maybe, they were something watching from above, testing the waters, observing our world while we watched helplessly from below. November 2004. The Pacific Ocean stretched endlessly, calm and silver under the afternoon sun. A Navy carrier group, led by the USS Nimitz, was conducting routine training exercises. Among the pilots was Commander David Fravor, a man with over 16 years of experience flying fighter jets. Nothing could have prepared him for what he was about to see. A radar anomaly. It started when radar operators on the USS Princeton detected something strange. Objects, fast-moving with no wings, no heat signatures, were appearing and disappearing on the radar, dropping from 60,000 feet to sea level in seconds. This was not the behavior of any known aircraft. Fravor and his wingman were ordered to intercept. They banked their FA-18 Super Hornets and followed the radar signals to the coordinates. What they saw left them speechless. The white Tic Tac, there above the ocean's surface, hovered a white, oblong object. It was about 40 feet long, smooth, with no windows, no wings, no visible means of propulsion. It was shaped like a Tic Tac candy, but moved like nothing built by human hands. "It's just standing still," Fravor radioed, unable to believe his own eyes. As he began a circular descent toward it, the object suddenly mirrored his moves, as if it knew what he was doing. Then, in an instant, the Tic Tac shot off at impossible speed, vanishing from sight. No sonic boom, no heat trail, just gone. The FLIR video. Later, another Navy jet managed to capture footage of the object with its infrared targeting camera, known as FLIR, forward-looking infrared. The video, now famous around the world, shows the UFO accelerating and rotating in ways that defy our understanding of physics. When the footage was released to the public in 2017, the Pentagon confirmed it was real. They admitted they had no explanation for the object's origin or technology. What was it? Experts have since debated the Tic Tac UFO. Was it a secret military craft, using technology decades ahead of anything known? Could it be an unmanned probe from another world, observing our capabilities? Or something entirely beyond our understanding? an object not bound by the same rules of gravity and aerodynamics. Physicist Dr. Matthew Scheidagis calls it one of the most credible UFO sightings of all time. Even skeptics have struggled to dismiss it. The question that remains, for Fravor and the other Navy pilots, the Tic Tac encounter was a moment that shattered assumptions. "This wasn't a bird, a drone, or a plane," Fravor said. "It was something I had never seen before, and it was real." As the ocean waves rolled beneath their jets, the sky suddenly felt different. They realized that something or someone was watching them. Each story leaves behind a single haunting thought. We are not alone, but what do these encounters mean? Are they signs of something waiting to reveal itself? Or are they just glimpses of a truth too vast for us to understand? What do you believe? Were these lights and shapes just natural phenomena, or proof of something visiting our world? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion might reveal the truth we're all searching for. If these mysteries sent shivers down your spine, hit like, subscribe to X-Site, and turn on the bell icon. Because the next story we uncover might be the one that finally answers the question, what is really out there?